Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Monday, the 19th of June. I'm Derek Clark, still coming all the way from Oslo, so fingers crossed the Wi-Fi holds up, and I'm joined this morning by Stevie Clifford. How are we doing, Stevie?
Hi, morning, mate. All good, yeah. How was your weekend? How is Oslo? Enjoy yourself on Saturday?
Yeah, just a tad, yeah. Invited over to the Scotland game, which was good, beating Oslo in February time. So, yeah, it's been a cracking weekend. It was boiling on Saturday. I was amazed I never get more sunburnt than what I actually did. The game itself was probably the worst game I've ever seen up until the last 5 minutes. Then it was just pandemonium. So, yeah, it was a cracking weekend. I urge you all to go, folks. If you've not been to Norway and Oslo and what have you, then it's a cracking country. But make sure you get deep pockets if you're heading to the bar, that's for sure. But yeah, I'd very much recommend it. But guys are tuning in, guys and girls, of course, to talk all things Rangers. And there's a few things to discuss over the weekend. Before we do that, of course, you know the drill by now. A quick word for our podcast sponsor, Seneca Hair Restoration, the number one guys in the hair transplant business. If you're looking to restore some lost self-confidence, then these are the guys to go to. All their transplants carried out by doctors. There are multi-award winning as well, and some of the biggest names in the sporting world go to these guys. I've mentioned many times before, Tim Visser, that Scottish rugby players went to Seneca, so do go check them out if that is something you are thinking of. Right, Stevie, we'll touch on a bit of news with regards to, of course, Rangers. Since Ross Wilson departed, have been looking for a replacement. And the big news over the weekend, Johnny reported on the Rangers Review, folks, that Carlos Bocanegra, his name was mooted at a possible return to Ibrox, but he will not be joining as the club's new sporting director. It's been understood that he was interviewed for the position, but has now been ruled out of the running. Christian Nerlinger is another one that has been linked, but the club strongly refute he's ever been a candidate. I think he runs a football agency over in Germany now after leaving Bayern Munich as their sporting director. Time's dragging on a little bit, Stevie. I think we've touched on before about a big summer of change at Ibrox. Are you slightly concerned that there's not a sporting director in at this point in time, or is it not something that you're relatively concerned about?
No, I would have been concerned if they had appointed Carlos Bocanegra, that's for sure. But I'm certainly not concerned about the length of time it's taken. You know, Michael Beale said that they would take their time with it, and it wasn't an urgent process. So it doesn't really concern me the amount of time it's taken. You know, we would all look. There's a big job in the summer. If you think about recruitment, director of football, sporting director, whatever position it's going to be, there's head of youth development. It's going to be in. And then you've got commercial managers going to have to come in, or commercial director to replace James Bisgrove. So you've got three big positions. Then Kenny Bartley's left, head of finance as well. So he's another one that you need to replace. Andrew Dixon's gone from the board. And then you filter it further down. You know, even the likes of the women's manager and things has went as well. So There's a lot of positions to fill. There's a lot of big appointments to make, and you've got to make sure we get them right. So I appreciate that these things might take time, and I think that I'm quite happy with that. I'll say right away, Derek, that I'm extremely glad that Carlos Bocanegra's out the running. He's not done a good job with Atlanta. I don't think they're massive fans of him either over there. So put aside the ex-player kind of draw to it, I don't think there is one. And we should be looking for someone that has got potential success on their CV and has got a background to doing well in transfers and things like that. When you dip into what he's done over there, I don't think you can say that that's extremely true. So I am pleased that that's not going to come to fruition.
Michael Beale said himself, I think the tail end of last season, that he's quite happy doing the role. He's just a little busier than what he would normally be, Stevie. But I mean, he's brought in a number of signings that already has been fairly busy, Michael Beale, of course. But I think, is there any names out there? I've seen other names mentioned. There was a comment coming in. For the life of me, I can't see at the moment. It was the guy from Arsenal, wasn't it? Is it Steve Morrow? has been a name mentioned. Is there any other ones that off the top of your head? I mean, John Park I've seen mentioned as well, could possibly step into that role. Is there any others that you could think could replace Ross Wilson?
See, in all honesty, no, I haven't given it a lot of thought, Derek. It doesn't really concern me overly who comes in. I'd be quite happy to not go with a director of football or a sporting director and let Michael Beale just kind of run it the way he wants to do it. But there's no. I don't think
can that be sustainable, Stevie? Can that be sustainable? And I mean, the modern game.
It worked previously before this sort of position was invented, didn't it? So, I understand football's changed, but do we really need it? Some clubs work without it. So, I'm not in any urgent rush. I don't think there's an outstanding candidate, Derek. If there was, I think they would have already been appointed. So, I honestly, I haven't given the kind of off-field positions much thought. I'm quite happy for the club to go through their due diligence and kind of do their thing. So, no, I haven't. Honestly, I haven't given it serious consideration about who I might want in. Have you? Is there anybody that you think might?
No. I mean, the Bocanegra one, that was a bit of a surprise for me over the weekend, seeing that one. I wonder if he never played for Rangers, if he would have been linked to the job. I think ditto Nerlinger's one, although he has got a decent pedigree, of course, he's been at Bayern Munich. But again, is that just because that's a lazy link because they have been at Rangers as players? It's not one that stands out for me. I know down south I've seen there's been a bit of movement with regards to sporting directors. I see that Stuart Webber left at Norwich City. There's a bit of murmurings where he'll end up. And it'll be an interesting one. I think Michael Beale is quite happy and quite content with being in charge of transfers at the moment. Of course, let's hope that the players that he's brought in hit the ground running. But it's one to keep an eye on, I think. But I thought that was pretty interesting over the weekend, those names that were mentioned. Dean Milne says, John Park always applies for it in my footy manager save when I punt Wilson. Can you do that on Football Manager, Stevie? Get rid of your sporting director?
Yeah, I did. It was the first thing I did, obviously. Day one, sacked. So, no, in all seriousness, yeah, you can do that. You can get rid of your director of football and stuff like that. John Park is probably a name that will be mentioned in it. I'm sure there'll be a few others as well. But, Derek, I honestly, I'm sitting here and I can't say that I'm too clued up on who could potentially come in. I'm quite happy for the club to go about it, and then once it gets down to nitty gritty and the names start to get released and stuff, and who's maybe in, then I'll start to take an interest. But at this point, I've not really overly concerned myself with who might come in and who might not and stuff like that. As I said, I took a bit of an interest and read up on Carlos Bocanegra at the weekend. So aside of that, I haven't looked in it any further.
Yeah, lots of comments come in. Big thanks to Glasgow Rangers Nation, Owen the lad there, for signing up to become a member. Thank you for that, buddy. What do you guys think of the Mark Warburton link to the club, and what role would you think would be best for him? Of course, he departed West Ham hot off the back of them winning the Conference League. Can't imagine Mark Warburton would be coming back to Ibrox, Stevie, although I think that as a role, I think he's looking for that director of football role. It's one he carried out successfully at Brentford. I would be amazed if Mark Warburton was to return to Ibrox. Would you? Yeah.
Probably best not to go into this too much. I'm not a huge Mark Warburton fan, to be honest. So, no, I don't think there's a role for him here. I know he's certainly got a pedigree and stuff like that, but nice guy, but he hot-tailed it the first opportunity he could last time, so I wouldn't be welcoming back with open arms either. So Mark Warburton's had his time at the club. I think we should be moving on from that.
Yeah, and Dean says, I haven't seen anything on Warburton. He said on a podcast saying he'd like to go back to a sporting director again, and he just left West Ham. It'll be interesting to see where he ends up. Also, comments come in. Kenny says, any new transfer rumours, lads? Let's discuss one player. I'll put it in the title over the weekend. A bit of news on Malik Tillman. Now, I know that me and Stevie, it seems to be discussed. It seems to be the Malik Tillman show when we're on about what's happening with Malik and a potential return to Ibrox. Well, news over the weekend suggests from the German football site Kicker, suggested that Rangers have had a £5 million transfer offer for Tillman rejected. Of course, Bayern actually, according to Kicker, they've said Rangers will have to dig deeper into their pockets if they want to land Tillman with their initial fee knocked back. This is an interesting one. I think we reported last week that there's a couple of clubs down south that have been credited with an interest in Malik, I think namely Brighton and Brentford. There will be one or two others as well. I don't think the lad will be short of offers next season. This is an interesting one though, Stevie. If Rangers are having bids rejected, which be reportedly before thought that the £5 million was the set in stone fee to bring him to the club, that doesn't appear to be good news in terms of his potential return to Ibrox. I think we've spoke on record. I'd be surprised if I see him lining up in the squad next season at Rangers.
Yeah, I think Interesting's doing a lot of heavy lifting there, Derek, to be honest, because we've done this to death. I think the agreed fee is actually closer to 6 million than it is 5. So that maybe is why that's not being accepted. But we need to know the ins and outs. All these things have, like, if you've got an agreed fee, they've all got deadlines and things like that about when you can hit them and stuff. I don't think Malik Tillman will be a Rangers player. I'm on record as saying it. I don't really think he wants to be a Rangers player. And I don't want to get in the situation where we spend the summer chasing him and, we're a third or fourth option for him either. So, I'd prefer that if this isn't going to happen, we moved on quite quickly. I'm not sure we actually need him either. If Sam Lammers is coming as a 10, where's he going to fit in? Yanis Hadji, Alex Lowry, there's a lot of options in there. So what are you going to do with Malik Tillman? He obviously would play and would start, but what else are you going to do with that squad? So, I think that Malik Tillman done a good job for us, but I wouldn't be spending my summer chasing him. I think that's it. I think we're all kind of on record. You've said it. Johnny's been quite vocal in saying it as well, that we don't think that he wants to be here and doesn't think he will be a player next season. So that's certainly the noises around it. They can be wrong. So we'll just need to wait and see what happens with it. But in all honesty, Derek, I would have moved on a wee while ago from Malik Tillman if it was up to me. I think that if there's a chance that this one drags on, then, we should maybe just leave it where it is. But we've literally done this to death on this show, I think, with Malik Tillman. Interestingly, with regards to any new transfer rumours, the answer to that is no. There's been nothing said. I don't think we'll get anybody in this week, Derek. I don't think there's anybody imminent unless there's a breakthrough in some of the deals or a new deal emerges, which is always possible. But I'm not expecting anything imminently in the next couple of days or anything, unless, obviously that situation can change quite quickly. But I don't see much happening. I would see that probably a few out the door is where we'll go next before maybe things slightly need to balance up a wee bit before we bring, or before anybody else comes in. Michael Beale said he was ahead of transfer schedule, which is interesting. And also a lot of players are still on holiday and away and stuff like that, and maybe don't return to the start of July. So I'm not overly stressed or worried about the situation. I just don't think that anybody's imminent. I've certainly not heard any new links or anything else ongoing other than the continuous links with Dessers and Cifuentes. So he was on the bench, I think, for Ecuador and Bolivia game. The Ecuador won 1-0, so he was on the bench, didn't come on. So aside of that, I don't think there's much going that we know about, certainly, because there'll be loads going on behind the scenes, I should imagine. But aside of that, I don't think there's much really that we know.
Yeah, let's get to a few of the comments coming in. Billy says that if Tillman wanted to come, he would have signed already. He doesn't see himself in the Scottish League. John Adams is looking for players to be heading out, start moving players out, he says. Just incidentally, just a quick word on our membership scheme, folks. Just before I forget, we have launched that YouTube membership scheme on the website. You can become a member of the channel. Around 200 of you have already signed up, so it's very much appreciated. Just £2.99 a month. You get extra content during the week, up to 3 to 5 extra videos, and we're getting great feedback on those during the week as well. So now is the time to sign up. You get lots of chats with I've carried out a number of interviews, chats with transfer gurus, experts, if you like to call them, over talking about the likes of Jonathan Panzo. We've had a chat on Serial Dessers, where we'll just discuss shortly. And there's also one there on new signing Sam Lammers as well. So go and sign up. Now's the time to do so, folks. £2.99 a month. There should be the join option on the homepage of the YouTube site. So go and sign up if you're on an iPhone or an Android. There should be a way of downloading the desktop site on your phone to sign up as well. And you also get ad light, so you'll get the morning briefing. If you don't watch us live in the morning and you don't like the ads, then you'll get it ad-free in the afternoon as well. So I urge you to go and check it out. Just on Dessers, there was news over the weekend, Stevie, over in Italy. Apparently, Torino are interested in Serial Dessers and giving them the opportunity to remain in Serie A. This is not good, of course, for Rangers. You don't want a bidding war taking place. I think there was a fee quoted in the region, what was it, €4 million, something like that. I think they were wanting €6 million, Cremonese, to begin with. If Torino are in for him, then Rangers should need to be prepared for a bit of a transfer tussle, you reckon?
Possibly. I mean, that sort of stuff doesn't really concern me, because agents put out stories and all the time, Derek, about trying to hurry teams up or trying to push teams along and up the price and stuff like that. See, if it was down to a straight shootout between Dessers and the boy they were linked with over the weekend, Tazos Duvickas of Utrecht, I would be going for Duvickas every single time. 22 goals and 38 appearances last season, 19 of them in the Eredivisie. So, he's a boy that's certainly caught the imagination of me, that's for sure. It's said that Rangers had them watched a couple of times in May and things like that as well. So that's an interesting one. That would be one that kind of, I don't think there was a link as such, more speculation. And if you offered me the opportunity or the choice of both, he's 23 as well, Derek. So there's a real sell-on potential there and everything. And yeah, listen, you're maybe paying €6-7 million for him, but if we are shipping a few players out, potential to make money on the likes of Kamara, Ben Davis and things. So, there's maybe some things that we could, that we can do there. So I don't think that 7 is maybe completely out of there. But if you're asking to pay, 5 and a bit million all in for Dessers, I would be looking at this boy as being a more realistic kind of sell on for what we need. And he's a goal scorer. I think we've seen that from his record and stuff like that. So that was an interesting kind of link over the weekend as such. But Derek, see, when these things happen, like, and other clubs are linked and stuff like that, I generally don't. It doesn't concern me in the slightest. I've always been of the opinion that if somebody wants to come to Rangers, and we spoke about this with Jack Butland 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, didn't we? We said the same thing, that if somebody wants to come to Rangers, they'll make it happen. And they'll find a way to make it happen. Jack Butland made it happen. He was quite happy to take, the smaller offer indeed from us. It was not obviously a tiny offer, but 60 grand for his boyhood heroes to sit and be third choice at Man United isn't exactly a bad offer. He's chose to come to Rangers, and that's the kind of hunger and desire I want. If Dessers gets more money or there's an offer or whatever from Torino and he chooses to go there, then good luck to him. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, because we'll get the target that wants to be here and wants to do well for us. So it's just, it doesn't concern me. Genuinely, it doesn't. If they're linked to players and agents will talk and everything else, it doesn't really bother me in the slightest. All that bothers me is that, Rangers have to be very careful this summer. We've all said it, and that means that every penny has to count. I trust Michael Beale to know what he's doing. 4 are in so far. We've spent 3.5 million, depending on what the kind of reports are on Sam Lammers. So, and the other boys that have come in have been good. kind of sensible business. But this is a time now where the squad still needs 2 or 3 real game changers, I think. 2 or 3 people in there that can make a real difference, as well as because you can build a squad, but you have to focus on the first team as well. There's a load of variables in there depending on what's going to happen with the likes of Borna and stuff like that too. Arbid's going to come in for Yanis Hadji. Well, you have a decision there. So there's a lot of things that are going to happen in the next few weeks, and I don't see any kind of point in stressing or obsessing over rumours and stuff like that. When it happens, it happens. Of course, as supporters, we can take an interest, Eric, and kind of look at these things and do that. But I'm kind of relaxed about where it all is, to be honest.
Yeah, we talked about Yanis a fair bit last week, Stevie, but just off the top of your head, what sort of fee would you be looking at for Yanis Hadji?
Anything above 3 million.
Yeah.
With a sell on, I think would be where I would go. I would love to get in the region of £5 million for him. I think that would be a really good deal. But if you offered 3, same with Ben Davis, I would be taking anywhere above kind of 2.5 million. Kamara, if you get 5 million, you'd be laughing all the way to the bank. I would be 3 million and above for Glenn Kamara. So there's money in the squad. I'd be looking for $1 million for kind of Scott Wright, even if that's not up front. $500,000 maybe, depending on appearances and goals or whatever. I understand that kind of thing. John McLaughlin, you're looking at a minimum kind of fee there. Borna, if Borna was to go a year left, you're maybe looking at £1 million or so, but you're still raising in between the guts of 10, 12 million pounds there. And if you're thinking that Michael Beale maybe has that to spend, plus what he has, plus a bit of what he could bring in and stuff, then somebody like Tavos Devikas isn't a million miles out of our reach. So there's a lot of variables, I think, when it comes to the squad and what's going to happen and who's going to come in and out. So I'm not overly stressed. I don't see the reason we won't get 5 to 7 million for Yanis Hadji because of the back of the injury he's just had. If we were on the back of 55 season where he's hitting 20 to 25 goal involvements, then I'd be asking for that much. On the back of nearly, kind of the best part of anywhere between 15 to 16 months recovering from this injury, I don't think you would get much more. Anywhere between 3 and 5 is, I think, money that we should be seriously looking at.
Yeah. Lots of comments coming in. Firstly, Stuart Henderson says, 4 a.m. here listening in the car on the way to the airport for my Florida trip from Wisconsin. Absolutely superb, Stuart. Glad you're tuning in at such an ungodly hour. It blows my mind when guys are tuning in during the night. It's superb stuff. Craig Marshall looking for a shout out for Finnert Boys Club's 2010s winning the League Cup yesterday 7-2. What a result that is. Good. Well done, lads. That's a cracking result. That's an absolute thrashing in the final. So well done to each and every one of you. Just on the Devikas story, there's a point in, I think Skylark's Greek media suggested we're in for him. How reliable that is, I don't know. There is a Greek transfer journalist that I spoke to on Lewis Palma last month. So he's fairly in the know. So I'll get an insight later on today to see how solid that link is to Devikas. But he certainly is an interesting player, I think, Stevie. There is no doubt. I think fits the profile, like you say, 23 years of age. That's the sort of player, that calibre of player that Rangers should be looking to identify and bring into the club. Billy mentions I would sign the Greek boy now and hopefully get Maja near the end of the window when the appeal is over. That is certainly one that looks like it might run on for a little while, Stevie, isn't it? Old Josh Maja. We know, just to bring you up to date, folks, he's technically a free agent now. Bordeaux, they had a match abandoned and the French FA have deemed it won't be replayed, so it means that Metz now get promoted to Ligue 1 and Bordeaux will be remaining in the second tier, which means that Maja is released, but Bordeaux are appealing that decision. So maybe one that runs and runs, but he's certainly a player that Rangers have been credited with an interest, Stevie. There is an issue, but I mean, we've talked about Dessers and Devikas. If Maja comes in, would you be happy with that forward line going forward next season?
Well, one would have to leave if you get somebody like Devikas in, who Devikas would replace Morelos. I think that's clear. But then you've still got Jolak, you've still got Sakala, you've still got Kamar Roof. So one of them is going to have to leave. You're not going to get
Who's the most likely, do you think, Sakala?
Probably Cholak, I think, would be the most likely. I've seen there was a rumor yesterday, I think last night, about potential interest in Fashion Sakala. I think Fashion Sakala, we spoke about this last time, he's got so many goals and goal assists. For all that he might make us at points kind of scream into the pillow, he's still going to deliver numbers. And I think we need to be careful about getting rid of him too quickly, because your squad, and he is a squad player, has to be able to deliver numbers and things. So I'm not in any rush for that to happen unless somebody flings kind of silly money, 5 to 7 million at us. But I wouldn't be getting rid of him for shy of that, Derek, to be honest, for his numbers. But going back to the Josh Maja thing, it would be such a Rangers thing to sign this boy, get him on a free, go through 2 years of appeals and everything else, and then be told to pay 4 million for the guy, and after all these court cases and stuff like that. So I would be a bit wary of touching that unless we were completely sure. And if he does come in, somebody's got to be leaving. But if you offered me maybe a couple of £1 million for Antonio Cholak to bring in Josh Maja and Devikis, something like that, then that might work. So it's interesting. As I said before, there's lots of variables. There's lots of variables in what happens with our squad in and out. But I still think, as much as the window's been good so far, and it definitely has, I still think we've got, work to do. I still think there's half a dozen I'm looking at coming in. When you think about centre back is definitely needed. If Ben Davies leaves, might need 2. Left back's position needs clarified. We need another centre midfielder. We need some wingers. We need a striker. So, there's already 6 positions. So there's a lot more work to do. There'll be a lot more exciting things to talk about. It's a bit of a quiet show this morning in terms of big news and things like that, Derek. But I think that, we've done okay so far. But the real business and where we'll really judge Michael Beale and where that we'll really get ready is about to begin. I think there's 12 days or so before the pre-season starts. So, there's a lot more to be done by then.
Yeah, just a couple of points before we wrap up. First, Les, I know you're keep a keen eye on the Rangers women's team. Stevie Skylarker says, any news on the appointment of a manager for the women's team? Big window for them. Anyone that springs to mind that off the top of your head that they should be coming in taking over the team?
Yeah, I've heard a wee bit on this, so I'm not sure how much I'm allowed to say and what really is happening, but I don't think that appointment's too far away. I also know that the women have got some signings lined up as well. They're already well advanced in that. There might even be an announcement, next couple of weeks over players that are coming in. So I do know a couple of them. But who would I want? I would love Rangers to go and get somebody like Hope Powell. I think that would be an exciting, fantastic appointment for the club. I think that is somebody or something, that would be great to be able to aim for. She left, obviously, Brighton. I think was her last appointment, English international experience and stuff like that. So somebody like that would be a truly kind of magnificent appointment, kind of grab the attention of those that do follow the kind of women's team. Captain Kathy Hill, she just went through a knee operation last week. Obviously, Kathy and I are quite close pals, so she went in that last week. She played the last kind of 3 months or so through the pain barrier for the team. Lisa Martinez being injured meant that they only had really 2 fit centre halves, so she played through. So we'll be looking for her. I think her recovery, Derek, is really similar to Connor Goldson's actually. So wish her all the best, obviously, in her recovery. But there'll be a wee bit of ins and outs there. The women's team, there normally is. Obviously, Sam Kerrs went to Bayern Munich. Expect Emma Watson to go to Manchester United as well. So there's a few deals there that will be happening in and out. Just mainly like the kind of men's team. I expect that will start to warm up in the next few weeks as well.
Yeah, and a quick word as well. Rightly brought up world's greatest DJ. Morning buddy says, well done to Graham Souness for his charity swim across the English Channel, raising over £1 million for Deborah UK. Yeah, we totally echo that. Absolutely fantastic. He was part of a 6-person relay team who completed the 21-mile swim in 12 hours and 17 minutes. Absolutely fantastic. Well done to Graham and the rest of the team for that. Really is a fantastic cause as well. What an amount of money that is also. So well done to everyone involved in that. Right, folks, I think that'll do us there. Big thanks to Stevie as ever, and big thanks to everyone for interacting with the show. Thank you very much for your support. Just a reminder, folks, if you want to become a member of our channel, hit the join button on the homepage, and you will get extra content throughout the week, up to 3 to 5 extra videos a week. There was a comment coming in, will there be an extra video today? There will be. Joshua's working away on it as we speak, so you'll get extra content this afternoon. Right, I'm away to catch a flight back to the mainland, back to Blighty, but until then, enjoy the rest of your Monday. Bye for now.